Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Don't forget you can download my free printable planner at www.cupofparenting.com/planner. Today we're going to have a look at why taking time out is so crucial, some of the signs that show you that you do need to take time out, and some practical strategies and tips that can help you in order to take time out. Lots of research has found that by taking time out, now whether this is taking small breaks throughout the day during your everyday work, whether that's professional work or personal work, this is really beneficial and productive, and it means that you will produce a better outcome in whatever work you're doing. This is why, if you're working professionally, you'll have designated breaks that they want you to take, or even lunchtime. So it's not just about taking break out to eat or to drink, it's also to give yourself a mental and emotional break from the stresses of what you're doing, and just so that you can relax and refresh and recharge. But this also applies to if you're taking a bigger break in your life. So for example, if you're physically going away for 2 or 3 days, if you're having a little holiday, a longer holiday because you need a break, this is also a similar type of thing. Going away so that you can forget about the work, forget about what it is that you're doing, and completely recharge and refresh yourself before going back to the task. Lots of studies have found that by taking breaks, your level of energy actually increases and your exhaustion levels decrease. And this was found to be true even 1 year later when they did the study. So this is why it is so crucial. So what are some of the signs that tell you that you need to take a break? There's several signs we can see in our everyday lives that let us know when we have had it and it's gotten too much for us. Your body, your mind, it will let you know. It's another thing as to whether you choose to respond to that and whether you'll choose to respond in an appropriate way. But first, let's have a look at what are the signs. One of the signs might be that you're awake at all hours in the night, or when you go to bed, you're really overthinking about this task, this job, or whatever it is in your life. You feel that much level of overwhelm. It's like a reel going off in your head. So instead of going to sleep or just relaxing and falling asleep, you're quite stressful, and that stress keeps you awake. And you keeping yourself awake means you're not getting a much needed sleep and rest, which the human body needs in order to function. So the fact that you're letting it disrupt your sleep means that you're at that stage where your body is telling you that you are overwhelmed and you do need to take some time out. Another sign could be that your eating habits might have changed. Some people stop eating or eat very less compared to what's normal for them, but some people might go the other way and overeat or binge eat to compensate for the fact that they're so overwhelmed. So this is another thing to look out for. Another sign could be that you just have no motivation anymore. So it could be that you really enjoyed doing a task, or it wasn't very difficult for you to do a task because you would be used to doing it, but all of a sudden you've got no energy, you've got no motivation, your heart's not in it, you're just not into it anymore. And this could again be another sign that actually you probably reached that peak point of overwhelm where it's gotten so much for you and it's turned into a burden rather than something that used to be enjoyable. Or even if you didn't enjoy it and you had to do this particular task or work or things in your everyday life, it's not something that used to make you feel so depressed and sad, but now it does. It could even be another sign manifests itself in you neglecting yourself. So that could mean that you're not physically bothered about your appearance or your health, or even emotional neglect where you're just not listening to yourself and you're not giving yourself that recovery time, and you are just neglecting your everyday needs and your everyday self-care needs because you're reaching this point of absolute overwhelm. And you would know when you've reached it, because it's not just you feeling a little bit tired or you thinking, oh, I'm not in it today. It's across the long run, or even over a number of days, you suddenly have this overwhelming sense of having like a breakdown, and all these other things that we've just discussed coming together and it manifesting in you just unable to do the work anymore and really feeling upset and sad and down about it. And your body and your mind are saying to you, look, you need to take a break, because at the end of the day, we're not machines. We're human beings and we do need breaks in order to be healthy. What are some of the strategies that you can do? How can you physically create time for yourself then? How can you look after yourself in this way? Here's some practical strategies. First of all, agree a break time Whether that's at work with your manager or your boss, or even with your friends and peers if you're doing collective work together, or even with family members if you're doing something at home, agree that this is the time I'm going to be on a break. Maybe you can even switch your phone off that time, or put it on airplane mode or silent mode, which means that you are actually taking a full break. Some people go into a break and then they start doing another task in the break. For example, they might start making phone calls. So that's not really taking a break, because it means you're engaging your mind in something else. So it just builds up the levels of exhaustion. So make sure that you agree a time in which you're going to take a break. It might be that you need to set an alarm on your phone, and at that time, even if you're alone and not with anyone else, another strategy could be set an alarm, and at that time, go and have a break. It might be that you go and have a tea and coffee, or maybe take it outside if you can. Even if you can't physically go anywhere, go to a window or go outside in the front garden, back garden. But try and go outside or away from whatever it is that you're doing, the task that you're doing, so you're having a proper time out away from it. Another thing you can do is plan to do something you enjoy in the break. That might be having something you really enjoy eating, or just switch off and do something else. Go for a walk, something that's not involving the work you're doing, so that this then becomes enjoyable. And when it becomes enjoyable, you'll make a link in your mind that actually at break time I'm going to do something that's enjoyable, and that will create a positive emotion, and the positive emotion will have a positive effect on you. That'll mean that you are being more productive. So it's like a good knock-on effect. So if you do something or if you plan to do something that's going to be enjoyable, that'll make you more motivated and more likely to actually stop and take that break. Another thing that you can do is enjoy the outdoors, and this might be easier said than done depending on your circumstances and where you are, but if you can, absolutely take some time out to go for a little walk, even if that's a few minutes of a walk, even if that's in your own house outside in the surrounding area. If you're driving somewhere and you can't do that, or you're going from one place to another, then consider parking and walking for a little bit, because it is immensely beneficial enjoying nature. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made nature for you to enjoy as well, alhamdulillah. So, and that doesn't cost anything either, so make the most of it. So whether that's going out for a walk with somebody else, with someone in your family, make sure you do that at some point, because that can also be a practical way in which you can take a proper break then if you're going for a walk. Another way as a Muslim that you can take a break is during the 5 daily prayers. Now depending on where you are, for example, you might be at work, you might not have a huge amount of time, but the fact that you're taking this time out 5 times a day, subhanAllah, to connect with your Creator means that you're already in a state of taking a break. But then after you finish your prayers, even if it's a couple of minutes, just take a couple of minutes to sit and just think and reflect on what's gone well in your day, maybe how you can improve. And if things haven't gone well, just give yourself a couple of moments to collect yourself, so that you're looking after your body, subhanAllah, and your mind. Another thing you can do is talk to a friend. Now, again, it might not be possible to talk to them in reality if they're not in front of you or they're not near you. Give them a call if you want to do that for the purpose of not doing any work, but just having a chat with them. That is also really beneficial, especially if you're that overwhelmed and stressed that you just need to let it out. Think of someone that you can trust. It might be a family member, it might be a friend. There is even a whole concept of talking therapies, which is a form of therapy where you go and you talk about your problems and your issues. So if it's something that you need to vent about and you need to just de-stress in that manner, definitely find someone or connect with someone that you can just talk to, because that's another way in which you can release that stress and that overwhelm and have an effective break. Now, don't forget, when it comes to self-care, because some people neglect self-care when they get overwhelmed, there's different aspects within self-care. So there's physical aspect, emotional aspect, and mental aspect as well. So make sure you're looking after yourself in all these ways. So obviously physically, think about your appearance, what you're eating, what you come across as like, but also think about mentally how you're thinking, what your emotions are when you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed. Afterwards, like maybe in the night time when you're doing a bit of reflection, think about how that made you feel and how that might have impacted on your actions, and maybe what you can do differently next time. So that's really important to think about as well, your emotional state and your mental state, like how did it make you feel. So by looking after yourself, in all of these three different areas. You know, you can even think about, what am I grateful for today? Alhamdulillah, what went well? Even if it's something small, end the day on a positive note, and then thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you're being in a state of thankfulness as well, instead of going to bed overwhelmed and stressed and only thinking about the negative things. Think about the positive things and try and take that time out to do the whole package. Like when it comes to self-care, think about yourself holistically and work on your inner self as well as your outer self, so you're the best version of yourself. Try and have a structured self-care plan, so you're taking time out throughout the week anyway to look after yourself. Remember what they say when you're in an airplane and there's an emergency and the oxygen masks come down, they always tell you that you have to put your own on first before you help a young child or any of the people around you. In the same way, when it comes to overwhelm, stress, taking time out, you have to put yourself first. You have to be a little bit selfish so that you can look after yourself, be the best version of yourself in order to be more productive, and be the best version of yourself to help your family, your friends, be more productive in work, etc. So it's really important that you do take time out actively to do that. So don't forget to do this as well, inshallah. And make sure that you stay consistent with these tips and strategies so that you could always be taking a break. Remember, that could include small breaks or larger breaks if you have the ability to take them. But if you haven't, at least smaller breaks throughout your day, inshallah, no matter what you are doing. If you found this useful, why not watch my next video, self-development for Muslims. In the meantime, I will see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.